Fort Sumter is known throughout history for being the site of the first shot of the Civil War. It was fired from Fort Johnson on James Island at 4:30 in the morning on April 12, 1861. That first shot was an exploding shell that exploded over Fort Sumter, signaling for all the other Confederate forces in the Charleston area to start firing on Fort Sumter. This battle lasts for about 34 hours, and there's not a single person that dies during this first battle. The first person to die during the Civil War is a guy by the name of Private Daniel Howe, and he dies during the surrender ceremony out at Fort Sumter. The technology of the cannon at that time was that the cannons, they're smoothbore cannons, they could only fire about a mile and a half or so. And that's about as far as the Confederate forces were from Fort Sumter. Because Fort Moultrie over on Sullivan's Island is 1.1 miles away. Fort Johnson's a mile and a quarter away. There are several floating batteries out in the harbor. They're about a mile and a quarter away. There are batteries over on Morris Island. They're about a mile and a quarter away. All told, you had about 19 forts and batteries firing on Fort Sumter. But there really wasn't that much damage. The only real damage that was done to the fort during that first battle of the Civil War is the officers' quarters inside Fort Sumter that catch on fire. And then in April of 1863, they're going to start the second bombardment of Fort Sumter. This siege is going to last for nearly 2 years. And that's when all the damage is done to Fort Sumter. Fort Sumter was originally 3 stories tall, about 55 feet tall. And, well, it's nowhere near that tall anymore. It's about 25 to 35 feet tall today. And all this damage is going to be done because the technology of the cannon changed. Cannons are now going to be rifle cannons that have a range about 4 to 5 miles. And those can easily blow through the walls at Fort Sumter. And then after the Civil War, not much happens out there. After the Civil War, the fort's decimated. It's going to get rebuilt a little bit in the 1870s. It's going to get modernized in the late 1890s with the construction of Battery Isaac Huger, which is part of the Endicott system of batteries that they built all along the eastern seaboard into the Gulf of Mexico. And then they also built some along the Pacific coast. So that's the last modernization of Fort Sumter. And that's in the late 1890s, 1898, 1899. And the fort is going to be active through World War II, and it's going to be decommissioned in 1947.